not, Captain. Scotty, beam me to my bike. As you may have figured out by now, I'm a science fiction fan. Very much so. Which has a lot to do with this name right here. Boomer. Yeah, that was suggested to me for the bike names. And, you know, I think the original reason was the gunshots from the other videos, but you know, I immediately thought of Battlestar Galactica. I thought of Boomer from Battlestar Galactica, and I'm like, man, that's really cool. So it's a double meaning for me, and I chose one of your names, and the bike is named, and there you go. But you see the little three little spaces there? See that? Boomer, ... Yep. Because I'm modifying one of the other names. Baron von Grumple. He put on there Bitchy the Redneck Hunter, which I really liked that one too. But it's not a redneck hunter. It actually got hunted by rednecks. But I like the idea of the hunter. So it's going to be Boomer the Hooker Hunter.
Scotty, beam me up.
So, if you think that was weird, wait till you see this shit. So speaking of the Baron von Grumple, he's been telling these stories, all these crazy stories about piss stories, and they're funny. They're really, really funny. You should check out his channel. But I don't know, it's kind of inspired me to maybe tell a story. So I'm gonna tell a little story. The shit story. Yeah, everybody's got a shit story, don't they? I got a shit story for you. Let's see, what year was it? I don't even fucking know what year it was. It was a year. It was a year involved. And basically, I was just starting college. And I wanted to live on my own. I wanted to move out from my parents' house and get my own place. So what I did was, I couldn't afford much, you know, I'm just a college student. So what I did was I actually bought a mobile home, you know, like a trailer park. I bought it for like $2,500. And then I just had to pay my lot rent. I'm sure this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Shit. Hope nobody sees this. Anyway, that worked out rather nicely, actually. What was I saying? Oh yeah, shit story. So I bought this trailer, and just excited, man. My first place out on my own. It's gonna be awesome. So I bought the trailer. It had to be moved to the trailer park because it was on somebody's private land. No big deal. So they moved it out there, and they're hooking everything up while I'm moving my stuff in, and I'm all excited, you know. And the guys are working underneath the trailer and hooking the stuff up and all that. And they're like, hey, we got to come back in a little bit after lunch or whatever and hook up your water and sewer because it's not done yet. But we got the electrical on, you know, and you can, you know, clean your house up or do whatever you need to do, you know. So I'm in there, I'm dusting shit and scrubbing shit and doing all that kind of stuff. And then I get the shits. I get that pain, that gurgling, you know that feeling, right? That like, oh man, I really gotta go. It's like one of these things that I can't wait any longer. I need to go right the F now. And of course I don't have water. And I'm like, crap, you know, I don't want to crap in this toilet that's got no water in it, and there's no way to flush it. And, you know, the guys are going to come back to hook it up, and they're going to see this big old, it's like, oh man, I was like, I got to do something, but I got to go. I got to go now. And it was like those cold sweat, just, oh my God, I got to fucking go. So I looked around the house, and I had this plastic trash can, you know, and I'm like, all right, you got to do what you got to do, man. So I take the trash can into the bathroom with me. I don't know. That's where you go to the bathroom. That's why I took it in. And I set it down next to the toilet because that's where you go to the bathroom. So I just let it go, man. I just emptied myself into this trash can, and it was, oh God, it was like the most smelliest, horrible. Oh my God, man! Just like enough to like fucking choke a skunk. It was just insane. Oh, and you know, I had to do something with this. Well, let's call it a bucket of shit because that's what it was. And I had to do something with it. Like, man, what am I gonna do with this bucket of my shit? And you know, I didn't think of that before, but you don't have time to think of that. It was that sort of situation. You didn't have time. And so I'm like, all right, look at this sprinklers, dang it. So I just grab a trash bag. I had these, you know, those big black trash bags that you have for cleaning up yard stuff and all that, you know. I had one of those, and I put it in there, and I tied it a big knot, and I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna take this out. I'm gonna throw it in the dumpster. Throw my shit in the dumpster across the street. So that was a great plan. But right about that time, there's a knock on the door, and I'm like, oh crap, man! There's a knock on the door. Right, you know, holding my sack full of shit. I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna stuff it under the sink right here. So I open up the cabinets, and I shove the bucket of shit underneath the sink, and I shut the doors. Then I go to the door, and it's the plumber guy, and he's back. And he's like, yeah, man, hey, listen, I just hooked up your water. And I'm like, oh, I thought you were going to lunch and stuff. He's like, yeah, well, you know, I just go ahead and get her done. I'm like, okay, well, great. That's awesome. And I'm thinking in my mind, well, Jesus, you know, I wish I would have known that, because I would have just gone on the f***ing toilet. But anyway, he's like, hey, I need to come in and to make sure the water works. I'm like, okay, you know, no problem, come on in. So he goes in, and he goes to the kitchen, and he turns on the faucet, and the water comes out. And he's like, that's great. Opens up the cabinets underneath the sink, and he's looking around the plumbing, and I'm thinking, oh no, I really hope he doesn't do that in the other bathroom, in the bathroom, I mean, and it's just, you know, not just in the kitchen, because my feces is hanging out right there, and yeah, so he's like, all right, this is good, let's check the bathroom. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be bad. So we go into the bathroom, and as soon as I open up the bathroom door, the smell just like hit you. I mean, just like a freaking heavyweight boxer punching you in the face, just. And I was like, this is gonna just be bad. Oh, this is gonna be bad. So I'm standing back, kind of by the door, and the sink is just like right here, you know, it's just right there. And he goes over to the sink and he turns on the water, and you can tell he's like smelling it. He's like, man. He turns the water on, and then he opens up the cabinet doors, and if it wasn't bad before, oh God, man, he opens up those cabinet doors, and I saw like the paint started coming off the walls. It was just, oh. And then he gets down on his hands and knees, because it's this tiny little bathroom, and he sticks his head right next to my bucket of shit. Right, I mean, he was inches away from the bucket of shit, and he's looking up at the pipes, and his eyes are watering, and he's like, and I'm like, oh no, this is horrible. This is just, oh my god, I feel so sorry for you, dude. And he's under it, his eyes are water, and he starts kind of choking, and he's like, oh man, I think something's wrong here, dude. He didn't call me dude, I don't know what he called me, but he's like, oh, something's wrong. You need to have this plumbing checked out. You got a serious issue right here. And I'm like, yeah, I know. You got a serious issue, man. You're just like hanging out there with a whole sack full of nastiest, horriblest shit that ever came out of a human being. And because I didn't tell him. I mean, what am I going to do? How am I going to explain that situation? Oh, yeah. You know what? I actually shit in that bucket right next to you and shoved it in there right next to your head. Wait, I got to tell him that. What the hell? So he's just about to throw up, and he slides himself out from underneath there, and he's like, listen, man, I gotta call it a work order or something because there's a serious sewage issue you got going on here. And I'm like, yeah, that's I understand. Yeah, we got to get this thing figured out, you know. And he left, and I took my bucket of shit across the street and threw it into the dumpster. And that is my shit story.